Welcome everybody to WOLFcon 2025. The meeting topic today is going to be automated testing updates. We've made a lot of progress towards automating folio testing. And how our community can help with that as well. So that's what we're going to discuss. My name is Yogesh Kumar. I work for AppSco and I basically lead a team of QA development as well as QA testing for Folio product. I also participate as a product owner for infrastructure that is internal to us that for our dev teams that use that I manage that as well. Welcome everybody, and let's dig right into it. Let's see. Okay. So, like I said, agenda today, we're going to talk about the folio automation. What did we do? What are the progress we did in a whole year? Where we stand, what it looks like today. Then we'll about a little bit on the manual testing, where our problems are in terms of, our backlog and to automate, etc. Then we'll talk a little bit more about that, how we're using AI to accelerate our automation. And then we'll talk about how community can help us, contribute into our automation strategy and, help us even automate more to reach our goal, etc. All right. So for your end-to-end automation, we are about 43% automated right now. It's significant milestone. We've been having tough time getting over 30%, but recently with AI, and accelerating through AI, we're able to push a little bit more. And I'll show some data and stats on it. We increased, this automation in the past years, early couple of years, from 15% to 43%, which is a big numbers. And I'll talk about that too. We do have a quality gate, which is a daily run as a part of our shift left strategy. We developed that, we run our smoke tests, subset of these, 43% on every code, the code that is developed, during the day, almost 4 times a day, so that we can get an early feedback and make sure there's no regression or tests are not broken and the code can be, call it actually done. So that's working very well, and our development team is responsible for making sure the code that they check in is gone through under test of these smoke scenarios, which are pretty much core functionality of Folio. So we also run our smoke critical path test, which is approximately 2,000 test cases that are automated to identify regressions daily. This is our, again, code developed during the day, merged into all our integration, platform, in terms of modules, all modules integrate together. We run at a nightly basis about 2,000 test cases, make sure there are no regressions. If there are, we find them typically, and file the bugs. Depending upon the bug and what the regression type is, we either get a response to get that fixed within a day or, within a couple of days or within a sprint for sure. So this way, we are, testing and, making sure the code is generated daily is pretty much gone through testing and buttoned up before we, talk about any other further, things like bug fast or before the GA, etc. So sprint by sprint basis as part of our run criteria, we do testing of this code on regular basis. We also have extended tests, which contains another additional 1,200 approximately tests, so about 3,200 test cases that we run once a week because it's significant, and we also run that as part of the sprint to button up this process. All of these tests are, part of our CI/CD pipeline. So they're automatically run. If there's 100% pass rate, we don't really bother looking at it. If there are failures, we get, logs and reports, and we look at those and make sure that changes made during the week or during the nightly or during the day are not impacting the test. So this is our gating process for our testing for quality. Let's get into it. So this kind of gives you our stats on where we stand. We have total, approximately 9,600 test cases. Out of that, almost roughly 3,500 test cases have been automated. This is, as you can see from release over release, our test cases arsenal is growing, or our repository is growing significantly. We have lots and lots of features that come in. You all are aware of, Folio's 3-month to 6-month release. There's a lot of features go into it. There's a lot of development that happens. But you can see, how we grew our test total, test management system to 9,600 test cases, release over release. And as part of that, we were released, this kind of chart gives us idea of how much we were able to automate depending upon, our timing and our, ability with the current resources and resource model we have. So overall, we are 43% automated, but in this release for Selenium, for example, which just started, we are about 66% automated, but prior to those, we were always around 30%, automation. And reason being that we were resource, automation is resource heavy and we were resource short. So we didn't have enough time, we didn't have enough resources to actually keep up with the manual team. Manual team is almost the double size of the automation team. One. Second is, they write tests very fast compared to, automation. But with the AI progress, we actually kind of threefold picked up in Trillium doing it. But, I'll talk about that a little bit as well, more. As you can see, we also have, almost smoke test is almost 90, percent automated, fully automated, almost I consider. Critical path, more than half or just about around the half. And extended path, which is also significant, is almost almost 30% of test. But we still have close to 6,000 test cases into our backlog that we are trying to automate. So we'll talk about that as well. I'll probably take the questions in the end. I don't see any arms raised or anything. So if you can hold off, let's talk about question in the end. Let me continue. Okay, so this is what our current looks like. This is just a snapshot of a quick, nightly run or weekly run, the latest run we had. As you can see, we have a pretty good pass rate. So, we keep it up there. We, always try to shoot for more than 90%. And, as we see failures, we continue to analyze and we're filing bugs, and those bugs get, fixed within the sprint. Again, if the progress is very low priority, it probably belongs to extended test. We typically delay that, but other than that, if it's P1, P2, P3, we try to fix it within the sprint. So what does our 6,000 test cases look like, right? Our basically, like I said, manual testing, we have about 6K into a backlog. We have, our goal is to really automate 80% of this testing. And with the current team of 5 SDETs, and with even AI, etc., we raised the bar to almost, developing 150 test cases per sprint, which is, almost a 5-fold increase because of the AI. But, we still can't keep up with it. And even if we take that, today and start to implement, with the goal of 80%, it'll take us, 32 sprints, which is, a huge amount, and this is where, I wanted to bring up this topic in WOLFcon and see if we can get some help, from community participation, etc. On the right-hand side, I show a chart where in some areas we have nothing at all. So reds basically says we have no automation at all. And the others says we have less than 20% automation. So there's a lot of opportunity here. We also have, opportunities in other areas which are, 40%, 60% already automated, but still have a large number of test cases that can be automated. So we continue to, look for these opportunities here. Just wanted to give you an idea of what the manual, testing backlog looks like. Okay. So let's talk about a little bit about the AI, why we end up using AI. So this was a problem even in last, time I mentioned, I believe, in WOLFcon 2024. We did, look into ways to increase our automation. And one of the ways, was great was right in time was the AI. We started using AI and we were able to, accelerate our velocity 5 times. We use currently GitHub Copilot with a Claude Sonnet, model that allows us to generate our, testing. It can pull, the code, the test steps from the test trail itself. It can generate all the code in VS Code. We have specific instructions. We have kind of mastered it, and we have also put that out there in our repo for anybody to be able to use. With the minor tweaking and troubleshooting, we get a pretty much near perfect test cases generated, or test case code generated, by this the tools and the instructions that we have. So this is a very easy way for anybody to participate and be able to do more development with us and work with us and collaboratively, and help us, as a team together to reach our 80% goal of automation. I'm hoping that this strategy will allow us to add more community resources and community participation, and be able to automate more and run these tests on a more frequent basis. Let's move on from this here. Okay. So I think I've probably stressed enough, but I would like to see is, some community volunteering, to be able to assist us with automation. The goal for the community-led development should be, if we can get some help on about 1,800 test cases for the next 3 months, with 10 volunteers, we should be able to achieve this goal. Hoping with the same velocity that we're doing, maybe slower initially, but I think with AI and, getting some training and some, education around the tooling and our stuff, we should be able to achieve this goal within, maybe 3.5 months at the most. So that's pretty much on this slide that I want to talk about. Let's see. So what are we looking for, these community volunteers to be able to do? Well, they should have some sort of JavaScript, knowledge. They should have some sort of TypeScript knowledge. If they do, they should be able to use GitHub, Copilot, VS Code. They could, we do have community pipelines. They can use our pipelines to run it. And if there are any interest, please contact me. I will get you started. I would prefer, you work with our SDET team. We will, we do have a lot of information in terms of, recordings, videos, etc., wikis, documentation, etc. We even did one earlier webinar today, in the WOLFcon around 11 o'clock today, this morning, around explaining how to use the AI, how to use, how to generate test cases, etc. So we have a lot of information that we can get you easily started. We can work closely with you on that. Let's see. So, what's the giveaway? Well, we have a large number of test cases, and, we will definitely need some sort of community participation. Community participation It doesn't need to be, very extensive UI developer. It could be somebody familiar with JavaScript, TypeScript, if you're familiar with Cypress and, use of AI technology and want to learn, into AI technology and generation and be able to run our tests and debug. So some basic familiarity is needed, but we don't need a whole lot of, a specific development skills. So I think that will pretty much, is what the takeaway, from this presentation that I wanted to say. That's pretty much it from my side, and I can probably take some questions now, if there are any questions. Anyone online or anything in the room, please.
Hi, thanks, Yogesh. That was really great. Mark Alcock from EBSCO.
Sure.
It's a dumb question. What is so special about the 80% pass rate? Why is it 80%? What?
Sorry, not 80% is not the pass rate. 80% is the coverage we want to do to a product for automation. What's special about it is, well, we have a lot of configurations that are growing, Mark, and as well as we have very limited resource to go do manual testing. So looking at the backlog, and looking at some of the test cases that we have and stuff, we feel that 80% is a good goal to achieve in terms of, coverage of the whole platform portfolio. And there are test cases that cannot be really automated. So partly we have also that, there's about 1,000 to 1,200 test cases that we think cannot be really even automated. So that's another reason. That's about 10% of the backlog, if you think about roughly from the 9,000 perspective. Does that answer your question? Hopefully.
It does. And is it an industry standard, or it is an industry standard?
Well, it's kind of a good best practice, but we have a mix of yeah. I mean, I would say yes. You can say it's an industry standard, but it all depends on how well you're automated as well. But companies who are hefty like SaaS models and much more in cloud, they even go even higher. They go 90%, percent and above. But it's been industry standard for a while for 80%.
Can I just ask one more quick question? Who writes the test cases? Where do the test cases come from?
So the test cases are written by, we have a manual team that are part of pretty much every dev team. They are written by manual team and reviewed by POs. It comes from POs. And even some of the cases where we don't have QA, the development team / POs do write test cases as well. Some of the teams. So they came from pretty much from POs and QA.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And they're derived
a chat question. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, and test cases are derived from the user story acceptance criteria.
Yes.
Right. Right. It's in Jira, but test cases themselves and test plans are stored in another tool called test rails.
Test rail. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, basically, if you look at the entire development lifecycle, a product owner will write a feature. Right, a feature may be comprised of different user stories. A user story will need to have not only description of the requirement, but also acceptance criteria. And when the development team takes a look at the user story, they try to understand the intended functionality, and they also look at the acceptance criteria, and they use that to write test cases. And as Yogesh described, if a development team has a QA person assigned to them, usually that person will take the lead in writing the test cases and review it with the PO just to make sure that all of the aspects are being covered. And a good QA person will also talk to the developer to find out, what the different scenarios might need to be run in order to validate the functionality.
How do you automate that?
Sorry, automate what?
How do you automate the test cases?
Oh, okay. So we have a tool called Cypress basically, and we have a full test framework. It's basically writing a code. And like I said, we can use AI to generate a code. There's a huge process around it. I don't know how to answer that question for you, particularly. But I suggest, you maybe take a look at the recording of an early session which says how to automate end-to-end tests.
Yeah, if I may add to that,
Sure.
I think it varies, right? So as Yogesh said, not everything can be automated, and so some things will require manual steps. But in some other cases, basically, given this data, what is the expected output? Okay, and so then you write the code to create data on the fly. You feed the data to the system, and you can feed it to the system at multiple levels. So through the UI, okay, and that's probably the most expensive way to develop to automate a test, or through the APIs, right? So you collect different permutations of what can be fed to the API, and you run those APIs and see what you get back. Okay. I think there are a couple of other questions in the chat. So Yogesh, do you want to?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And then Alexei, I'll get to you. Do you see the question?
yeah. Sorry, I
Oh.
was actually started typing the question, but it's okay. So let me read the question and then I'll answer it.
Mm-hmm.
How much must the test be changed in a proper release? So I'm assuming you're talking about maintenance and how often do we change the test cases? It depends from flower release to release. If the functional story is asking for us to change some sort of workflow or some aspect, roughly it's about 20 to 30% is what we see from release to release, flower release over release. So hopefully that answers your question. So I'll go to the next one, which says, so what exactly is being tested and specific functions in Folio? Is that a question? So yeah, the workflows, so pretty much, end-to-end scenarios like, check in, check out, create an order, create an order with line items, etc. All screens, all application interactions through the UI that are applicable has been tested. So pretty much everything that you do, even in WorkFast activity as a manual activity, we try to automate as much as of those things in advance. Right now, what we do is in WorkFast, we do only subset of those tests, through manual effort and other set through automatic effort. And that's how we know all the cases are covered. I hope that answers the question as well. So I only see two questions there. Anybody else have anything else?
Yep,
Yeah.
there is another question in the audience.
Sure.
Yep. Thank you, Yogesh. It's
Sure.
really amazing presentation, especially as a part related to AI. Before I will ask my question, a small comment regarding 80%, why it's a magic number. Because to cover 80%, you should write 20% like of code, and to cover the last 20%, you should write a lot more tests to cover this cases. So it's actually a standard, like industrial standard. And regarding AI tools, I have a question. Are we using AI tools to generate test cases for manual case, or it's used right now only for generating a code base for automated tests?
Right now, we're just using, code to generate because we have a lot of backlog. But we have started looking as a separate POC to generate test cases as well and review it. Right now, we haven't found anything, significant. I would say we have found, 70% there, but we are talking with few tools right now and experimenting with few tools to feel 100% confident that this is doing good job.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
But
And
we are looking into doing that.
thank you. And next question. It's really a good topic here that to involve a community to participate in creation of automation test, and I 100% support these things. But what about maintainability? I mean that from my past experience, the main problem is not to create a test, but to maintain it after some changes that happens in system. Did you try to adopt these AI tools not only for creation of this test, but adopt these AI tools for fixing test or adopting these tests to changed requirements?
Yeah. So we are looking at AI does have those type of capabilities like auto, auto fixing and auto detecting the problem because of the code change, etc. Again, those are all under experimental stage right now. We have not used any of those yet, but currently our problem is our maintenance is about 20 to 30% that we are there having to maintain it. We will have that problem, but I think we'll have that problem once we create these suites. Right now our problem is coverage. We can't even get enough coverage, right? Because of that, our releases gets delayed, our bug fest goes longer and longer. We can't run in every configuration, we cannot cover everything in advance. We do a bug fest, and when we find bugs, then it takes forever to fix them, so we defer them and they become part of CSPs, etc. So this is where we are trying to reduce and bring it to shift left by doing more and more automation, run those tests, etc. So I agree with you that maintenance is going to be a nightmare, or maybe not nightmare, but maintenance is going to become a bigger problem later down the road. But we are looking at, AI does have self-healing tools, self-fixing, etc. We are looking into right now.
Any other questions from the audience?
By the way, these are all very good questions. Thank you so much for that.
Whose question was the best question?
Oh boy.
I'm just kidding.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
No, I would have said whoever asked the question is going to give me some volunteers.
All right. Well, if there are no more questions, then I think that's the end, right?
Yes. I know it's a little bit short, but I wanted to keep it very crisp and short. I didn't want it to make it a very big session. Earlier our session went way over.
That's good. There is an old Russian saying, brevity is the mother of talent. So
Exactly.
you've got to be brief. All right.
Yep.
Thank you, Yogesh.
Yeah, thank you everybody for attending, and enjoy your WOLFcon. And back to you, Mark. Thank you for helping me, Mark.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good one. Bye-bye.